Hey guys, what's up? It's Dark here, and welcome back to another Mythic Plus guide. Today we're doing Siege of Boralus, so pathing, mobs, skips, and whatever other tips I can give you. So today we are in Siege of Boralus. This one's a 15 plus key in time. This week was the super easy push week in Bursting, Skittish, Tyrannical, and Infested. Remember, these paths I show you are going to work in Season 2 as well. Nothing is going to change in regards to that. You just won't have to take note of the infested mobs in it. So dropping down, always with the Alliance pathway, we are always going to drop down into the water and kind of go the Horde way. So Water Strider over, or if you've got a Warlock, you can Warlock Portal over. If you're a Druid, you can stealth across the bridge and drop down, but otherwise have a Water Strider and run across. We're going to take this first, the Enforcer. We're going to drag it up into this pack that we've just killed now. Now the Enforcer does a frontal cone attack called Slobberknocker. You just need to sidestep that. Make sure that it's not facing into your group. In the pack that we drag it into, there is a Wave Shaper, which is the mob of interest. You need to interrupt Watertight Shell. If Watertight Shell goes off, you can Spell Steal it or you can Purge it. With the Watertight Shell, just make sure if you do need to interrupt it if you can't Purge it or Spell Steal it off. What will happen is if it expires, it will deal raid-wide, group-wide damage, and stun you. It'll also reduce all your AoE damage while it is up. You can see my camera just fucked up and I ended up in the water and dying there. My group's killed the next pack in front of us. As they're all non-elites, they don't do anything and you can just explode them. If there does happen to be an infested in there, you can just go in and murk it. You don't need to CC it. So we're running up here, we're ignoring all these pack, and we're into this kind of hangman area here. There's a Packmaster and a Dockhound here. Depending on what week it is in regards to what's infested, CC you're infested and bring the rest over to the left here. I should have gripped I think the Dockhound's not infested. I should have gripped the Dockhound over here, but it stayed over with its pair. On fort weeks, this pack can be a little tricky if you want to pull the pat in with this one. So just if you do that, make sure you are using cooldowns on it. Watch out for the shredders with their iron ambush, the swirls on the ground. You just need to make sure you're staying away from that. Same with the singing steel, which is like a frontal cone kind of like flurry attack they'll do. So just don't be facing that into your group. And then we're going to go and pull the infested in, which, as I said, I should have gripped the Dockhound over well before this, but it doesn't really matter. And there's also a gutter there that's just a non-elite that we've just dragged in that's on the bridge, this sort of next bridge section. With the Packhound and the Dockmaster, guys, you really need to watch out. They do quite a bit of damage. So the Packmaster is going to do a charge. You just need to watch out for that. The Dockhound is going to do this Bestial Fury as well. They deal a hell of a lot of damage. You need to kill the dog ASAP. You can see the dog is actually kept kind of switching to art there. And I think it actually ends up mauling art. It's gone back onto him now and ends up rending flesh and just kills him. So they do a shitload of damage. And I have no idea why it even went on to art, but it just did. So coming up here, we have the one gutter left. There would be two, but we brought that last gutter in with it. We're just going to kill these. Again, non-elite's not going to be any problem. Next, into the boss's room, there's two main packs. You can see this Black Tar Bomber is infested, so we're going to CC that, and we're going to bring it back. If you have a sub-rogue, you might not want to CC any of these infested, so they can just go ham with their shuriken, whatever it is, and eviscerate fucking bullshit. The Iron Tide Raider does a Savage Tempest. You need to make sure you stay away from that. It's like a Brostorm while the cast is actually going off, or the channel, or whatever you'd like to call it. Make sure you aren't going near it. Just get the fuck away from it when it starts. Don't go back until it finishes. It'll do an Iron Hook as well, which will grip you in, which can happen, and then it can put you into a Tempest. So just be aware of that. Make sure you're running back out. But that's about it with that. Once that's dead, there's no infested on the other side, so we're just going to grab the bomber now. What I should have mentioned with the bombers as well, guys, same in the pack before where we did them, they will do this thing called Burning Tar. When that Burning Tar starts going out, if you have a stun, make sure you stun it. If you do not have a stun, make sure when Burning Tar is going off that you run out trying to bait the fire patches away from the mob just to make it easier on your melee, especially if you're fighting it in with a large combo. Then we're going to pull these gutters here. There is another Dockhound and there is another Packmaster in this, so just be aware. You can see the Packmaster's doing the feral charge right now. Make sure you're not in that sort of pathing for that. Just be aware. And again, watch the Dockhound with its Rend Flesh. They do a shitload of damage. You just want to get them down ASAP. The Shredders, again, will be doing that Singing Steel, so just watch from that. They'll also be doing, I can't remember what their little grey swirly ability is, but just make sure that you aren't standing in it. And that's pretty much it with this. With this pack, you can actually take it over to the fence, line of sight it around the fence to clump them up quite easily and then run out. But there honestly really isn't sort of too much of a need for it. And there's the Iron Ambush. Sorry, it is from the Shredders. So then we're on to the first boss. Now, first boss, guys, as the tank, depending on how good your DPS is, how good your communication with them is and things like that, you can stick on the boss for the entirety of the time. Generally, the easier way to do this and to ensure nobody dies is to face the mobs away from your entire group, mainly the cleaver, until the heavy slash goes off. Once the heavy slash has gone off, then you can run and start putting DPS into the boss and dragging the adds on it. The big thing you need to be aware of is the boss will cast a meaty hook. He'll do that on anyone, and then he'll do this gore crash. You just need to watch out you don't get hooked in and then sit in there for the gore crash. You can just sidestep the meaty hook as well. When meaty hook goes on you, just strafe away from this position you are. Always be watching out for when the adds are coming up. So you can see another cleaver spawned here and the, a powder shot or whatever it is. The powder shots, just make sure you've got aggro on them. The big thing, as I said, is the cleaver. You need to make sure they are always facing away from your group from the heavy slash. The heavy slash is a stun. It has a huge range on it. It will one-shot your DPS if they get hit by it. So just make sure you're aware of that. You can see I got hooked in there, which was pretty terrible. What's happened is I got hooked in. The cleaver then faced the entire group to do its frontal cone stun then. So then I had to grip it off. So keep in mind, if you're a monk, you can use paralysis to interrupt the cleaver's heavy smash. You can grip them off. You can in-cap roar them. You can fear them. You can stun them. You can asphyxiate them. Point being is if it's going to face your group, make sure that the cleaver is not going to hit any of your DPS. So you can see here I've got 2 cleavers up at the moment, and I'm just waiting out here with them faced away. Now I've got another, we just dropped one, so now I'm back to having 2 cleavers up. What I'm doing is I'm just waiting out here for these 2 heavy slashes to go off. Both of them have gone off away from my group. I'm then going to grip all the adds onto the boss so we can clean up the adds. Depending on your DPS, you can ignore the adds generally. Generally on fort weeks, you can ignore the adds. Majority of the time though, if you don't have great DPS, you may need to switch and clean up the adds as you can get overrun with adds if you just leave them up. But otherwise, biggest thing, make sure that you are keeping heavy slash faced away from your group. And that is pretty much it. So once he's dead, we're going to mount up and we're going to run and we're going to take these Marauders here, which are all non-elites and don't matter. We're going to take them over to the right here with this Marauder and this Wave Shaper. Wave Shaper, again, water type shell is the main priority. If it goes off, remember, purge spell steal, but just don't let it get off otherwise. We're going to skip, there is a pat there that has a Commander and 2 Marauders in it. I think we're just going to skip them and run behind the house here. There's also a Raider that we're going to skip there. Sorry, it's a Commander, a powder shot, and that's 2 powder shots. We're going to skip them anyway. Moving into this next pack, again, another Wave Shaper and an infested powder shot. So we're not going to bother CCing or anything like this. Just drop the infested straight away. If it is infested in there, kill them. Make sure that you're interrupting watertight shell. And that's pretty much about it. Once they're dead, we're going to have this little gauntlet of bullets to run through. So I'm just going to wait for bursting to drop off me so I can mount. And then as the tank, regardless of Fort Tyran week, you're just going to make sure that you charge all the way down to the end here. And what you're going to do with these packs is there's a spotter mob in these packs. The spotter mob will mark people with these circles that they drop on the ground. And what that is that's where the cannon fire is going to come down from. What you want to do is you want to aim to have these circles ran over the mob. So if you can, dependent on a fixed weeks, obviously this becomes really problematic and over the top on bolstering weeks because you can bolster the shit out of your spotter. So just be aware of of what's going on. But what you want to do is you just want to use the spotter to kill all of the mobs around here. You can see that's what we've done there. They'll also blow up the Goonies for you as well, which is super fantastic. You can drag the spotter over the boat. However, sometimes it does bug out and it does become problematic. But it can be a lot of fun as well if you manage to get it over, because then you can end up with double spotters just nuking everything. So we're going to jump over the boat here and we've got a Commander, Marauder, Wave Shaper. The Marauders, they don't matter. Remember, they're non-elites. They don't do anything. The Commander will do a trample. Trample is something you need to watch for. Trample will actually run over the top of you and stun you. It can be really hard to see where the trample is going as well. I actually got hit by that one there. The Wave Shaper, again, make sure you're interrupting the watertight shell. or purging it or spell stealing if it goes off. But otherwise, you really want to get the commander down as quick as you can. On necrotic weeks, you can't actually slow the commanders as well. So they're generally the real focus that you want to get down, because it makes dropping stacks harder and harder with mobs that you can't slow. So this week we had an infested in that mob. It was a powder shot. We just CC'd it. We killed it. And we killed it at the end, outside the pack. And that's pretty much it. Moving up into the second boss room, you have this sort of semicircle of mobs waiting for you. And what you want to do here is you want to pull all of this. And again, there's a spotter in here. You're going to use the spotter's... am I going to call it the spotter's spot? You're going to use the spotter's spot to kill all this. Now, the Ashvane Cannoneer will do this thing called broadside. You do not want to get hit in the face with broadside. The deckhands will do a slash as well. Try and keep them faced away from your group. As the tank positioning kind of is everything here, though, you want your DPS to be dropping the circles on it, and you want to be trying to leave the mobs in there. Keep in mind the spotter's spot damage will not actually damage the spotter. It will also not kill the Cannoneer for you. So just make sure you're never facing broadside. Once you've cleaned up all the marauders, you just want to kill the Cannoneer and kill the spotter. Ideally, you want to be focusing down that Cannoneer anyway, as broadside can be very dangerous to someone. Then we're on to the second boss. Now, second boss, Lockwood, one thing that I found out recently here that I had no idea is that you can actually grip Lockwood. So when you start Lockwood, Lockwood will do a thing called Gutshot. You can actually grip Gutshot off the cast, meaning that damage will never go out. And I actually had a really shit run in this dungeon. I think I only gripped one Gutshot off and missed two more of them just from late grips. Like it was just one of those dungeons where some things just don't go right, and sometimes that happens. Now, you'll fight Lockwood for a while. She'll do a thing called Clear the Deck. You just want to make sure that you're sidestepping that, and that's about it. When she retreats up onto the boat, 3 adds will come down. You can mass entangle the adds before they ever get off the boat, meaning you don't have to deal with them. You'll have a Cannoneer that'll be doing broadside. Again, just make sure you're not standing in that. Kill the Cannoneer, then what you're going to do is you are going to pick up the cannon and fire at the boat. Now you can see that I was late to Gutshot there, and I get hit with Gutshot, which is just terrible. You can grip that off and you don't have to worry about taking that damage. Not that it's a huge deal if it goes on the tank. Another thing you have to be mindful of here is when Lockwood goes up onto the ship, she will do this cannon barrage. You need to make sure that you are standing in safe zones. On tyrannical weeks, it will one-shot your DPS, so just be aware of that. Otherwise, she's just going to stand here and shoot. It's really not too big of an issue. Keep it faced away from your group. Make sure that you are sidestepping the clear the deck. She withdraws again. You don't need to mass entangle the adds again, as they just stay there. Your sub-rogues obviously will not want you mass entangling the adds. If you don't have a druid, you can imprison and paralysis up on the ship as well. You can see here broadside going off, making sure we're out of the way, and then you want to be dodging the barrage that's going off. As usual, Dougs gets hit and dies for something different. Pick up the cannon when the Cannoneer dies. Make sure you aim it at the boat and you shoot it. There's Gutshot going off again. Wasn't anywhere even near the boss. I actually played like dog shit through this run. Clear the deck going off, making sure that you're sidestepping that. If you do get hit, it's just a knockback with a bit of damage. It's not a huge deal. And that's pretty much it, guys. This is just a complete rinse repeat for this entirety of this fight. We did end up letting the adds down for Nov to give Enhancer chances. He's the poor man's sub version. Again, just do that on whatever your group dependent. But if you can CC the adds on the boat, it's just less damage you have to deal with, and obviously less adds. Just depends on how your DPS go and what they get from having adds up. So once Lockwood is dead, we are going to mount up. This firewall's going to drop, and we're going to run through another little cannon gauntlet. We're running all the way up the top here, and we've got really good padding with this Demolisher here. So I'm going to pull this Demolisher up here. The Demolishers, when you pull them, pretty much instantly will do a crushing slam. That has a humongous range. It goes through houses. It's 40 yards on its range. Make sure you're facing it away from your group. It's going to do a thing called Terrifying Roar. You can outrange it if you can get 40 yards. If you have a Shaman in your group, they can drop a Tremor Totem. Otherwise, you want to line it up towards a corner so you can line of sight the fear. AMS does not work on this fear. Those Zerka Rage will, so just know that. Otherwise, you want to position it down to where I'm putting it right now. And if the fear was going off, we would be running around the corner to line of sight the fear. So that's the positioning, but he's going to be dead before that actually happens. What we're going to do here now is we're going to CC the infested mob here, and which didn't end up working. I think it got pulled somehow. And then we're going to pull these ones around the corner. And I was going to get the big bite, but then it was just going to go absolutely south. So what's happening here is Dougs is taunting that pillager out, and he's going to imprison it out there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to clean up these ones. With the rat tempests here, they're really not too bad. The biggest problem here is watching out for fucking bananas. The banana rampages will do quite a bit of damage, so stun them if you can. You can grip them off as well. Watch the bananas on the actual ground as well for stunning you. It's probably the most tilting area come through here, as I actually know where all the bananas are now, but that will mean that I continue to get hit by them every single week. Really watch the banana rampages though, where the bananas are going on the ground. Don't stand in them. And that's about it. Then we're going to grab this Demolisher here. Again, Crushing Slam coming straight off the bat. Just watch where that is. We're going to CC the infested mob in the next pack with these rats, and then we're going to move them up sort of to this corner bit. Here's a Terrifying Roar. We have a Tremor Totem again, so we're not going anywhere, but I've just got it positioned near the corner of this house, so we'll be able to line of sight the next fear when that actually comes. But it's always a Crushing Slam is always first, and then the fear comes after that. So you do have a bit of time to positioning. Just watch with the Buccaneers. Again, they're banana shit. It's annoying. But just keep your positioning. There's no real issues in pulling the Rat Buccaneers in with the Demolishers, just as long as your positioning's fine and you can still line of sight and there's no bananas for you to get stunned on. Moving around the corner, we're going to grab this Pillager. They do this vicious slobber. You just need to watch out for that. We're actually going to pull the one that we CC'd before. If you ever can, guys, a big thing for Season 1 affixes is making sure that you're doing infested pulls efficiently. So if you've got two infested mobs in close proximity to each other that you can CC and take out of the equation, clear all the normal mobs around them that aren't infested, and then pull the infested together, because remember, infested can't infest, and infested won't heal infested. So try and maximize your time in regards to pulling and taking mobs out. If you can pull infested mobs together, it's definitely the way to do it. Watch out for the vicious slobber from those. Otherwise, try and face them away from your group wherever you can, or stun them or grip them off that cast when they go to do it. So we're going to come around the corner now. We're not going to grab the house there. We're going to grab the Demolisher and these Cutthroats up here. This can be a nasty pack as well, so just be aware of that. We're going to CC our infested. We've got it imprisoned there. It was hexed as well. And we're just going to bring them around. Now, these Rotting Wounds, you just need to watch out for from all of these. As I said, it is a fairly nasty pack. We've got a Terrifying Roar actually going off first rather than a Crushing Slam there as well, just for something different. Again, I'm trying to get these into a position where we can line of sight the fear that's going to go off. Now, you can see there's the water spray going out. There's the revitalizing, revitalizing mists. We need to make sure that we're kicking the revitalizing mist. Otherwise, things are going to start obviously getting healed around us, which is just fucking a bad situation. So we've actually heroed here to try and clean these up. The Rotting Wounds is actually a really nasty healing debuff that will go on your tank, and you need to really be aware of that because there's a lot of damage coming out here. Having healing debuffs on you isn't really a great thing. It is a disease. You can dispel it, or is it cleanse? Do you cleanse diseases or do you spell them? I don't know, but you can fucking get rid of it if you have the ability to get rid of diseases. So just know that and just watch out for it because it is a healing debuff. Keep the Demolisher in a position where you can line of sight the fear and where the Crushing Slam goes off. It's not facing your group. This is quite an efficient spot to use hero when it's a Tyrant week, because what you're actually going to do is we're going to save hero for the very last platform on the last boss, which its hero is going to be up for. So generally speaking, you're going to hero on the first boss on Tyrant weeks. It's probably not going to be up by the time you get to the second boss, so you can use it on a large trash pool in this section, which means it'll be up for the last boss, because if you're hanging on to it, you're only going to get 2 uses out of hero instead of getting 3 heroes through the dungeon. On Fort weeks, guys, the Tentacle boss is actually buffed by Fortified, so it's not actually buffed by Tyrannical, if that makes sense. So you are definitely going to want to have hero up for the first platform when you hit the Tentacle boss in the last boss of Siege. So hopefully that makes sense, but the last boss in Siege of Boralus is actually buffed by Fortified, not by Tyrannical. The Tentacles are anyway. So again, we're coming up this pack. There's a whole bunch of snipers and spotters. Watch out for the ricocheting shot. It does quite a bit of damage. Try and stay spread. We're going to use the spotter's spot to make sure that we are killing all those mobs. So we're just going to leave the spotter alive. The boss in here pats around clockwise. You need to be aware, if you pull the boss in here, you can run out and reset him. However, pulling the boss will pull all of the trash as well. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to pull the pat to the right first. There's no infested, and I'm just going to line of sight them down to this corner. You need to watch out. You'll get these stinging venoms cast on you by, I think the invaders put the stinging venom on you. You just need to make sure that you are watching out from that using your AMS. You can detox it if you are a monk, and you can also cleanse it if you're a paladin. It will get put straight back on you, but just watch out for that as it does a bit of damage. Commander, again with the trample, guys, make sure you are trying to watch where it's facing, but we will be using the spotter again here to clean up as many of these mobs as quickly as we can. The spotter just makes it so easy, so make sure you're dragging the spotter through here, as it's a big help with the trash. Now coming up to the second pack here, we have a destroyer that's infested, so we're going to CC this destroyer here. We've still got our spotter alive. Going to wait for the boss to get out of the way here, and then I'm going to pull this pack and just bring it out again and line of sight them around. Now, technically, we probably could have done both packs here. Outside Fort Week, it's really not too bad. But this is the way we've done it anyway. Again, Commander, be watching out for the trample. I was going to try and mass group them into that, but they've all been mass rooted, so they didn't go anywhere, which is just a giant but that's the way that goes. Again, watching out for the invaders that'll be putting that stinging venom on you. The Commander, with its charge, needs to go down ASAP. So again, the spotter's damage doesn't actually kill the Commander, which is another reason you want to be nutting out the Commander, as the spotter's not going to take care of that for you. You can see our destroyers come in here as well. So just trying to get our destroyer into the cannon fire from the spotter, so that can take care of that for us. You can see it's nearly dead there. We're just keeping these separated at the moment. We're actually bear tanking it at the moment just to try and keep the infested and the Commander separated, so we don't heal up any of the Commander, as the Commander does have quite a bit of health, takes a bit to die. The destroyer is really not an issue, and it's not going to punch anyone in the nugget too hard. So we're killing that, and then we're on to the last pack here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the boss and reset it, because it's going to be quicker where the boss was padding, rather than waiting for it to move and running up and grabbing the sniper and invaders that are in the last pack here. Just be aware when the boss respawns, if it is near and you've got ads in there that it can aggro the boss, you may need to reset it again, which will cost you time. So make sure you just drag these outside. Again, we're using the spotter to kill these, and we're killing our spotter to finish up. Then we're waiting for the boss to respawn. Boss has respawned, we're all good, and we're going in. With this boss here, Dark Fathom, make sure you are facing him to the outside of the room. Big thing with Dark Fathom is he's going to cast these breakwater puddles. You just need to move them from your DPS. He's also going to do this Crashing Tide, which is going to be a frontal ability that's going to lay a big path of ice on the ground. You just need to make sure that you're sidestepping that. Big thing is facing it to the outside of the room, so those puddles don't actually affect any sort of movement area that you've got. This Tidal Surge is coming. There's really no need to move from that. I was kind of a bit worried that the Tidal Surge may have knocked me towards the gate. It may have bugged out and it may have reset the boss, but otherwise for the rest of them, I just end up sitting them when I'm in a comfortable position. So you can see, just making sure your DPS have got room with the breakwaters here. Here comes the next Crushing Tide. I'm just going to face that into the outside, drag him off to the side a little bit, and then reposition him. You can see the next Tidal Surge is in 22 seconds. So I'm just going to keep facing him towards the outside, keep moving for my breakwaters, making sure that my Crushing Tides are all going to the outside, making sure my DPS have got enough room. Here comes a Tidal Surge now, which is going to clear all these ice puddles. I am just going to stand in this, be it tyrannical, fortified, whatever. You don't really need to move from it. It's easier. The damage, doesn't scale with the key, so it's just easier just to stand in the Tidal Surge and keep your crushing tides facing out, rather than trying to reposition, run to the line of sight section, and then have a Crushing Tide go ripping up through the middle and possibly clipping anyone for damage. That's pretty much it with him, guys. There's really not much else to it. So we're going to kill him, and then as the Alliance, we're going to get fully cucked as we have RP and we wait for the gate to open. If you're, of course, a Horde player, your gate will open instantly from cannon fire and you can run back down, but there's nothing unusual from Blizzard in cucking the Alliance v Horde in this one, is there? Thanks very much, Iron. So again, we're still waiting on the gate here, and then we're going to just get our way down here. Now, don't be a dickhead and die on the way down to the boss. There are 2 waves of shit that will go. You can get up onto the sides if you need to avoid, so just know that. But after 2 waves, you're right to run down. Then we're going straight onto this last boss. Now, remember, the last boss is buffed by Fortified in regards to these tentacles, not Tyrannical. So, big thing is that you don't want to get overrun with Demolishing Tentacles. So, generally speaking, you want to have one person sitting on the gripping and then the rest generally sitting on the Demolishing Tentacle. What we did here is we wanted to do for science, we all sat on the demo for the first, and then we were all going on the gripping. So heading back over to this demolishing one, on the slams, guys, from the demo tentacles, when they start casting the slam on the tank or whoever has aggro, that's where the slam is going. So when it starts casting slam, if you don't have a stun, sidestep it. Otherwise, if you do have a stun, it's recommended that you stun the slams to avoid any damage going out or anything like that to anyone that may get hit in that proximity. You can see here we've now got 2 demo tentacles that have spawned because we were trying to get the gripping one down so quickly at the start. This is where it becomes a bad idea if you don't have people sitting on the demos as you fall behind. You can see a hull cracker went out there because there was no one in melee range of the demo tentacle, which can be absolutely devastating to your group. You can see multiple slams going off here as well. Don't fall behind on demo tentacles, guys. Always have one person sitting on the gripping and have 2 people getting the demo tentacle down. If you've got somebody that can cleave, roll poisons on both, roll dots on both, obviously, 100% have them doing that, but have somebody always on the demo tentacle with the tank trying to get that down so you don't fall behind. Once the platform's clear, someone gets in the cannon, you shoot, and then you exit the cannon before the boss ends up blowing up the cannon with a bunch of water shit. Again, here, we're stunning the demo tentacles and their slam. On the second platform after the first demo tentacle, you will get a bit of time up on the gripping terror. So you can move to the back and you can put a bit of DPS into the gripping terror as the tank. Just watch out for where you're going. For some reason, I thought a demo had spawned a little bit earlier than this, so I started running out. I probably had another couple of seconds that I could have hung in there, waited for the water rather than using my AMS to go through it, but it really wasn't an issue. I didn't take any damage. Again, using Asphyx on the demo tentacle slam, and then just rotating my stuns with Dougs here. You can see the demos actually pop really quickly. As soon as we killed one, we've already got another one. Our druid ended up dying in the water. So the boss is going to spit water over the platform. You can see it on platform 1. I didn't actually mention it at all, sorry. You just need to make sure you're not standing in the water. It's the big fucking water circles. Just don't stand in the water. I'm without words. So there it is there. Water swirls. Don't get hit by water swirls, guys. Slams going off again, just making sure that you're sidestepping them if you don't have stuns for them. You can see the demo tentacles do pop really quickly, so I can't stress it enough that you do not want to fall behind on demolishing tentacles here. I've seen so many groups fall apart on this last boss just due to not managing it. If it takes you longer to get the gripping down and you're not falling behind on demo tentacles, that's the game plan. Like, that's a win. You don't want to be falling behind on demo tentacles. So we've nearly got the third platform down. Once this platform is dead, we're on easy street. So the last platform is easy mode, and I'm going to show you why. So the cannon's been repaired. We've got the engineer out of the gripping. Cannon's being fired. Now what we're going to do is we are going to run over and we're going to hug the far left side here. So we're not going to go, when we cross this little bridge section here, we're going to hug this really tight to the left and just move all the way up to this gripping at the back. What that's going to do is it means that we do not aggro the demolishing tentacle at the front. We pop pots, we pop hero, and then we can just nuke this gripping terror down. Watch the water, don't be standing in that. The dispels, guys, as well, I should say, the big blue circle that goes around you that needs to be dispelled, the putrid waters. If you dispel that while you're standing on top of someone, that's when you punt someone to Narnia. If you've ever wondered about why you're flying around, it's because your healer's dispelling you when you're in range of other people with the putrid water. So just watch out for that. You can see we got a second demolishing terror that spawned at the end of the boat with us. The front one still has not aggroed though, because we skipped it by hugging the left side when we ran on. Jump in the cannon, fire, and that's it. So yeah, hopefully that helps you out, guys. That last platform hugging the left is a huge help because you do not have to deal with the demolishing at the front. You can just nuke that gripping down and then just stay alive long enough. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions whatsoever, please hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you very, very much for checking out the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Come say hi on Twitch. Come join the Discord. Would love to see you in there. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.